Class as the basis of computation.
Class as the basis of computation.
A class is a user-defined blueprint. It acts as a distinct modular machine with an outer shell and internal gears that defines the behavior of objects. This picture breaks down a Java class into two simple parts: the shell and the engine. 1. External wrapper, the shell. The curly braces, form the boundary of the class. It starts with the class keyword and the class name. Think of it as the container that holds everything together and defines where the class begins and ends. 2. Internal contents, the engine. Everything inside the braces gives the class its power. Access specifiers control who can see or use the class members: public, private, protected. No control equals messy code. Data members, variables that store the object's data. This is the state of your class. Constructors, special methods that initialize objects the moment they are created. Skip this properly, and you invite bugs. Member methods, functions that define what the object can actually do. Behavior matters more than structure. This image shows how to build the external wrapper of a Java class, the first step in writing clean, compilable code. The formula is simple. Class name. Break it down. Keyword, class A. Reserved word that tells the compiler, I'm creating a blueprint for objects. Forget this, and nothing runs. Identifier, payment_details. The user-defined name of the class. This is not decoration. It must follow strict naming rules. Correct versus incorrect naming. Payment details arrow spaces are illegal. The compiler won't negotiate. Payment_details arrow uses an underscore. Acceptable. Payment details to camel case. Even better and widely preferred. Non-negotiable exam rule. If a class name is given in a question, copy it exactly, including capitalization. One letter wrong equals unnecessary mark lost. 1. Access specifiers. Control the visibility. They answer one question. Who is allowed to touch your data? Use private to protect, public to expose, only what's necessary. No control leads to fragile programs. 2. Data members. Store the state. These are variables that hold the object's information. If your data is poorly designed, every method built on top of it becomes unreliable. 3. Member methods. Drive the behavior. Methods are the action takers. They define what the object can actually do. A class with data but no meaningful methods is just dead weight. 4. Constructors. Set the starting point. Called automatically when an object is created. They initialize values and ensure the object begins life in a valid state. Skip proper initialization, and you manufacture errors from day one. Bottom line, access controls protect. Data defines. Methods execute. Constructors prepare. Access specifiers and scope. The rules that decide how exposed or protected your class members are. Ignore this, and you don't have encapsulation. You have chaos. Public, maximum exposure. Accessible from anywhere. Inside the class, outside it, even from other packages. Use it only when something is meant to be used globally. Making everything public is lazy design. Private, maximum protection. Visible only inside the class where it is declared. This is how professionals protect data. If your variables aren't private by default, you're inviting accidental misuse. Protected. Controlled sharing. Accessible within the same class and its subclasses. Built for inheritance. Share what children need. Hide what they don't. Understand the scope radar. The center, private, to tight control. The middle ring, protected, to selective access. The outer ring, public arrow open to the world. Critical reality. Good developers expose less and protect more. Start with private, then relax access only when there is a clear reason. One trap to avoid. If you don't specify an access modifier, Java does not treat it as public. It becomes default, package private, meaning only classes in the same package can access it. Many learners get this wrong. Data members, attributes, the variables inside a class that define what an object is. No data, no identity. Two types. You must never confuse. Static data members, class variables, created once and shared across all objects of the class. If one object changes it, every object sees the change. Example mindset. School name for students. It should not duplicate for every student. Reality check. Overuse static, and you destroy object individuality. Dynamic data members, instance variables, created separately for every object. Each object carries its own copy. Example mindset. Student name, marks, age, obviously unique. Reality check. If everything is dynamic, memory usage climbs fast. The rule smart developers follow shared truth to static personal state to dynamic. Don't guess here. Choosing the wrong type leads to memory waste, data corruption, or bizarre bugs that are painful to trace. Static variables use the static keyword, share one memory location, and are allocated at compilation. Dynamic variables have no keyword, get separate memory for each object, and are created at runtime. Choose static for shared data, dynamic for unique data. Mixing them up leads to inefficient code. Member methods are functions inside a class that operate on data members and define what an object can do. They can take inputs, parameters, process logic in the method body, and produce an output, return type. Well-structured programs split work into methods, input, calculation, and display, instead of dumping everything into one block. A constructor is a special method that initializes data members when an object is created. Its name must be exactly the same as the class, and it has no return type, not even void. It runs automatically at object creation, ensuring the object starts in a valid state. Instance variables are declared inside the class but outside methods, live as long as the object exists, and are accessible to all methods. Local variables are declared inside a method, exist only while the method runs, and cannot be accessed outside it. Class scope is long-term and shared within the class. Local scope is temporary and tightly restricted. Prime number program built using a class, turning theory into practice. A class prime stores the number n, uses a constructor to initialize it, accepts input through a method, and runs logic to check divisibility. Finally, a display method prints whether the number is prime, proving how data, constructor, and methods work together to solve a real problem.